Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of the UK Connection alongside my good friends, Mr. Simon Bray from Lancashire and Mr. Steven Reid from Perth, Scotland. What's going on, my friends? How are you?
Yes, all good here. All good. How's you, Simon?
Oh, you're still speaking to me? Oh, that's so nice, Stephen. You've got to be nice to people on the way up, haven't you, Stephen?
Sometimes it pays to speak to the peasants.
Oh, it does, doesn't it?
It
I'm your
does,
peasant.
yes. You have to keep in touch with your roots, Simon. That's what it is. You see, you can't afford to lose that and just have your head in the clouds all the time.
You are the Sepultura in my life.
Bloody roots. Yes, exactly.
Not funny when you have to explain them, is it? Really?
Do you think there really are a lot of people who are watching this wonder what the hell we're talking about? Probably. Right?
Hey, just because we're nearly recording on this very close to when it actually goes out, it's just super exciting.
That is true.
It's even the same week.
I know, we'll have to think much less about what is where and why.
All right, we got a fun show for you guys today. It's already been fun and 2 minutes into it, right? This is a fun show to conceptualize and a really difficult one to put our list together. So we've been talking about doing this one for a while. This whole subject of title tracks, title songs. There's so many really good ones. So many really good ones. So we have given ourselves the assignment of picking out our 5 favorite title tracks of all time. On the flip side, our 5 least favorite. And what we found out was picking the least favorites was really hard, and picking our top 5 was really hard because there's so many, right? So we've put them together. We're going to do the favorites first, as always. And we'll see. Yeah, I'm already looking at my list and I'm thinking, wow, I could probably swap any of these out with something of equal importance anytime, but I'm sticking true to my picks. So I don't know about you guys, but before we do all that, we have a little business to take care of. Simon?
That would be me, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. As promised on social media, Simon the Incredible, don't know if I mentioned it, I went on holiday last week, went to the beautiful island of Fuerteventura, got myself Canarian beer. How cool is that?
Nice.
Reached into the fridge and actually got one from Lanzarote. So well done, me. Yeah? I'm sure it's going to be mucho good. It's an IPA. Yes, yes, it is. It's 6.5%. So by the time I get to the worst one of all time, I'll really be going for it. So yeah, wouldn't want to be in this pile over here. Oh no, yes it is. So it's a mucho from Lanzarote by the brewery appears to be called NAO. Now I don't know, but there you go.
Mucho, I love it. Love it.
Yeah,
I like the label.
we're
Label's
going to
cool.
give it a test, aren't we?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Oh, it looks nice. It's dark for an IPA.
Yeah, it's nice. It's good. 3.217. 3.217. There you go. It's a good solid effort.
3.217. Yeah, that's solid. That's solid.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, as we know, I like to keep the beers Scottish. Okay, so I went to the secret store of beer this afternoon and pulled out a Scottish beer. It's better Scottish beer. Okay, so this is a citrus. Oh, this is going to go well. Session IPA citrus belter. Yeah, belter. Okay, it's 4.5. Okay, and it's a little special. So it goes on about being Scottish all over it, and then announces that it's made with American hops. And then the address for Lidl's on the back is Dublin. But apart from that, this is a better Scottish beer. It does say brewed in Scotland, to be fair to them, and it looks like this in the glass.
Nice.
It's kind of that custardy way, but not quite. It is a
Not
bit
quite.
hazy.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it looks nice. It's actually better than I anticipated for a reasonably cheap and cheerful. It's a safe and solid 3.5 from me. That's not bad at all, actually. Yeah, I like that.
Cool. All right. I went to Vermont for mine. I didn't actually drive to Vermont, but my local beverage center has a whole shelf full of great beers from Vermont, and this is by the 14th Star Brewing Company in Vermont. Maple Breakfast Stout, brewed with real maple syrup. What is this? 6.5%, and it looks kind of like this.
Oh yes.
Smells like maple syrup. Smells like stout. Got a nice roastiness.
Tastes like breakfast.
Not too sweet, but yeah, it's got a hint of chocolate, hint of maple. You like pancakes, maybe with
Egg, fried bread.
chocolate chips? Yeah,
Black pudding. Yep, absolutely. Fruit pudding. Yep. Mm-hmm.
it's really good.
Yeah,
It's really
you
good.
get
It's not too
these-
sweet. That's good. Very smooth. I would give this 3.95. I like this. This is good.
Nice. I must admit that the description sounds like it'd be right up my street. Fancy that.
Craft brewed in Vermont. Yeah, does it say anything else? Not really. Well, wait. Growing up in Vermont, it was always exciting. Yeah, blah blah, whatever. Yeah, this is quite good. I would recommend this. You know, I don't often see like maple syrup stouts around, but this is good. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Yes.
All right, Simon, you have the unenviable task of kickstarting this off. Curious to see what your favorite 5 title tracks are.
You know, and I know that I'm going to cheat, don't
Yes.
we? Yes, we do. And you know, and I know that I joined this late. And one of the reasons I joined this late was that because being Mr. Smug that I am, I thought I'd got all my shit together. Last week when you lot didn't turn up, that thought I'd got my shit together then, and it turns out I had one missing from each part. So I just dashed upstairs and thought shit, I can't find Bridge Over Troubled Water, so that one's going to have to disappear. So I've also thought to myself, I want to talk about shit that I haven't talked about very often on the channel. So I know, especially when we get round to the rubbish. But yes, I find the rubbish really easy. But there you go, just saying. Because I've got crap tasting music. Yeah. Yes, I do. So, some of these are not necessarily what I consider to be the greatest things of all time, although I do genuinely love them and think that they are great. Yes, but the things I just feel like deserve a bit of a chat on. Okay. My dog's whining to go out. Idiot. So, anyhow, my first choice is, are you ready? 9 Tonight by Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. Okay. It's a bit of a cheat because the original version was on the Urban Cowboy soundtrack, which I know we all watched, didn't we? With John Revolting, we all watched that one, didn't we? No, we didn't. No, but this is the live version. It kickstarts the 9 Tonight live album in fine style. Let me tell you, it really does. It's great. It's a Segery thing that's very, very Segery. It's got the saxophone. It's got the groovy piano. It's got guitars in both channels. It's just a great way to start off any album and any concert. Yes, it is. So 9 Tonight by Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. Loved it for 40 odd years. Love it now.
So you know what that's going to promote or prompt, I should say, is now, because I've heard it for years. When are you guys going to do some sort of a ranking for Bob Seger?
You know it makes sense, don't you? You know it makes sense. I know it makes sense. Everybody out there knows it makes. Stephen doesn't know it makes sense. Is that because you haven't got a Bob Seger list, Stephen? Is that what it is?
No, I do. Well, Bob Seger's on the list.
He
So
is. He's on the list.
Yeah, I have one Bob Seger album.
I have the 2 live albums. That's it.
I can write that quite easily, to be fair.
So you could strongly have a discussion about which is the better one because everyone thinks Live Bullet is better, but it's not. So there you go. Yeah. Let's move on.
That's it.
Let's make progress. Let's move on. Is that it? Are we going round, Robin? Or am I carried on? We didn't discuss this beforehand.
Didn't. Decide we did all five or what we doing?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I can do all five. I can do all five. Yes. Okay.
Go
So
on.
when I just went upstairs, I thought, oh shit. And then I lighted upon Wigwam. Hard to be a rock and roller. I loved Wigwam when they first come out. Really, really did. There's a reason why all the Wigwam albums on the website are reviewed by me.
There may be more than one reason.
I'm probably the only person that can tolerate them, but you know, it's so glammy, it's so wigwammy, it's wigwam bammy. It's just good. This is not actually a fantastic record. It really is from start to finish, and you know, it really is hard to be a rock and roller. Importantly, in Kiev, which don't really mention in the song, but yeah, I know it's just full on, really, really, really melodic, muscular rock. It's just fucking great. I dig everything. I dig everything about it. It's, you know, it's almost as if the last 2 decades beforehand didn't happen. And in my world, they kind of didn't. Don't know about your world, but yes, certainly in my world, yes, indeed. So that's two, isn't it? Two
Good
down.
pick. That's an inspired pick. We got some nice variety here. And I will say, God, it's been about a year, but I would say like a year or a little bit more ago, there was one viewer who was commenting left and right on every video that we were doing. When am I going to talk about Wigwam? When am I going to rank the albums? And Wigwam, Wigwam, Wigwam. And so Simon, I guess how well do you know the entire catalog? Would you ever want to rank the catalog one day?
I could wigwam it up, and we could get about 7 or 8 views for that video.
Okay, cool. There you go. That's one of those bands that like I know people are interested in and have asked for. I don't own a single album of theirs, but I would definitely let Simon handle the reins on that one and go through the ranking if enough people want to see that. So, you know.
Well, the comments are going to be fun there, then, aren't they? Okay, so to move progress again, and so one of my very, very favorite bands that no longer exist, which makes me very sad. This is the second time they've no longer existed. Power Quest.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, Power Quest. Neverworld. Yep. If you want vocals that sound like the guy's got his bollocks in a vice, this is for you. Neverworld, Beyond the Blue Horizon. You know it makes sense. Um, on my WeChat account, you know, for when I talk to my China people, that is actually what it says. Simon Bray, Beyond the Blue Horizon. That's my love of Power Quest. Yes, and I even took my Power Quest t-shirt on the Great Wall of China with me. That is my love of Power Quest. If you like happy power metal, but not Freedom Callie style happy power metal, the Quest are the band for you. Absolutely keyboard driven fun. Really great hooks, great melodies, great everything. I have no idea why they didn't make it. And at Neverworld, it's a great album and it's a great song. As is Temple of Fire. Yes, very much so. What an album. You know it makes sense. But yeah, and I find that with the with this section, with the great songs, it tends to be from good albums.
Yes.
Might not be the case. You know, once you lot have had your say, you know, you managerial types, shall we say? Yeah, that's what we'll say.
I was going to say about Power Quest, though, I like your description of happy, not silly.
Yes,
because a lot of power metal kind of teeters into silly, and a lot of people don't like that. They're not silly, but they are happy.
Yeah, I don't necessarily mind silly power metal. I'm looking at you, Freedom Call.
Come on, you can say it, cheesy power metal. That's the term.
Only so many songs you can write that are called metal or METAL metal or Metal Fest or I Love Metal or I've got metal up my ass or whatever it is. There's only so many songs you can. But you know, there you go. Such is life. Moving on quickly. Yes, indeed. Molly Hatchet, Flirting with Disaster.
Oh, great pick. Great pick.
You know it makes sense.
Yeah.
You really do. I love this band so much. I could even just about tolerate the version that's going around now. The version with one guitar. But the original Molly Hatchet, dog's bollocks. Yeah, just saying. Yeah, like I say, it's a great album as well. You know, it's got Whiskey Man on. It's got obviously Flirting with Disaster. It's got One Man's Pleasure, Duke in City, Boogie No More. Oh, it's great. But, importantly, Flirting with Disaster, sounds very shiny, isn't it? It's got that three guitar situation going on, which I always think is the optimum amount of guitars for anything, don't you?
I would agree.
Yeah.
No?
Stephen, my prog friend, you probably like four and some synths and stuff, don't you? Yes.
Yeah, not every situation. Not when one of the guitarists just throws the guitar around himself all the time.
Well, that's a different story here.
What could that be?
I must be making it up.
Could be. Okay. So, and very finally, just to nail a rumor that appears to be going around on the head. Now, we all know that I've got a certain melodic rock star from the 1980s hidden in my cupboard, don't we? We all know that, don't we? Okay. See, there he is again. Yeah, that's right. But you know what? I'm not taking the piss. I actually really like John Paul. I really do. I really, really do. And Man with a Vision is a banging tune. And notice my Martin Popov kind of thingy, where I've actually got the version that he signed on that night.
Did he sign it, or did you have to get somebody else to hold the pen because his hands are so soft that he actually can't?
They were that soft. They virtually went through him. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah. But yeah, Man with a Vision is a great tune. It's a great pop rock kind of tune. You know, he probably could even pick the CD up, could he, to sign it or anything like that. But it is a great pop rock tune from a really great pop rock album. And just look at that thoughtful nature on the back. He's thinking, one day I'll escape that cupboard with my Apple. And yeah, but I fully recommend. It's really, really good poppy melodic rock kind of album. It's that good that I even bought the version done by Seven. I bought it twice. Seven. Yeah, it's pretty fucking obscure stuff, isn't it? Really? Yeah. I bought it on both 7-inch Uwe Misses and 12-inch for Noir. Such a good tune it is. And there is, to actually be vaguely sensible for 1 minute. There's something that is reassuring about a good title track, isn't there? Chances are, if the title track's great, the rest of it isn't going to be dog shit. Maybe we're about to prove that that's not the case. But chances are. I bet you've got a list of those, aren't you, Stephen? Yeah, I thought so.
Yes, and ticked off.
Good time. So those will be my, not necessarily favourites, but things that I think that people might enjoy if they were to go to their local streaming service or whatever it is, or maybe even see them in a shop for about 8p.
Some
yes,
really interesting, varied picks there.
Thank you.
For those of you who are wondering about the well-being of John Parr, secretly mail him a pair of coarse gloves so he can escape from that cupboard, because he can't right now because those hands are just too damn soft that he's slipping right off the handle of the door, right? Yeah. So he can't get out. Simon knows this, so.
He does it. He keeps the door unlocked on purpose because he knows that John can't turn the handle.
That's right. There's no lock on that door.
Games that are there. He could escape if he could grasp it tight enough, and he can't. There you go. So, a little bit of housekeeping. I just want to mention again that this was an idea that was suggested by one of our viewers, Roy Glancy. Thank you very much, Roy. This has been lots of fun and hard work at the same time. I had a list, a short list that was very long. I literally just went through the collection, which is listed, and made a short list of roughly 60 or 70 albums that had title tracks that I thought, and I really like your idea, Simon, of choosing things we haven't spoken about before. So therefore, I haven't done that. Okay, so I'm going to start with, it's Burn. I mean, it just has to be. 1974, it's Deep Purple. This is how you introduce a new lineup of a band. Do you know? You've got Glenn Hughes, you've got David Coverdale, both kind of going hello on this song, and that is exactly what they do. It was the lead single, which quite bizarrely seemed to have been basically ignored when it was released, which is just odd in itself. But this is just, what a way to introduce a lineup. What a way to start an album. And this was something that was mentioned when I mentioned in passing to George Lamy, far enough, about this idea that we were doing. And he was like, title tracks. our title track's always the best song, or is that the opener? Well, quite often it's both, as I've discovered doing this, is that the title track does tend to introduce the album, and it does it in such phenomenal style here. But you've got a great guitar solo, you've got a great keyboard solo, the whole band turn up here, but the drumming on this song is just off the scale. I make no bones about it. I would suggest that Burn is my favourite Deep Purple song. Any mark, any lineup, I just love it. Absolutely love it. It is no surprise that both Mr. Hughes and Mr. Coverdale have done their own versions of this in subsequent years. They both play it live, one occasionally, one on every occasion. And it's been covered by lots of people, really varied as well. Riot have done a version, Demon Drive, Kill to This, Soilwork, Wasp. I didn't know that until I went looking for this. Wasp have done a version of this. It's all right, actually. It's okay. And then you've got actual Rudy Pell, who admittedly covers everything. And Jorn has also done a version, and he covers even more than actual Rudy Pell. So it's not necessarily the biggest recommendation there, but they both do it quite well as well, to be fair. So that's my opener. Then I've gone to really, I just couldn't not do Creatures of the Night by Kiss. So, you know, this is the band's 10th album. This was released in 1982. This was the attempt to right the ship. Okay, I like Dynasty. I like Unmasked. I love The Elder. That is not the general consensus out there, and I get that. So this was the album that was going to come and sort all of that out, and it really should have done had anybody taken any notice and actually bought the damn thing, because it's just phenomenal. This is the song and the album that, for people who say, I don't like Kiss, they just wear makeup, that I say, but listen to this. It's heavy, it's really good, the songs are tight, the drums are phenomenal. Eric Carr, and it's his clattering toms that open the album. It's just phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It reached number 34 in the UK, which I had no real notice of, other than the fact that I've probably got all of the copies of it in this house that were sold in the UK. It wasn't even a single elsewhere. It's the only song off this album that charted anywhere in the world, quite bizarrely enough. And it's just fantastic. But it's one of those things where who plays on it? Is it a Kiss song? Well, some of them were involved. Paul Stanley wrote some of it, and he sings all of it, to be fair. Eric Carr undoubtedly clatters the drums to it. But the rumours are that Mike Porcaro played bass on it. And Steve Farris from Mr. Mister played the guitar solo. So it's one of those Kiss songs. But I absolutely adore it. Love it to bits. It's one of my favourite songs by them in general. My third one, I have gone for Master of Puppets. There you go. I flip between this album and Ride the Lightning as my favourite Metallica albums. I am an early Metallica kind of guy. To me, this was the last one that really turned up from start to finish. I know that a lot of people love Injustice for All. I still have issues with the sound that I just can't quite get over and all that kind of stuff. But what a release. What a song. Do you know, it's a proper metal song, and yet it's complex. It's quite technical. It's over 8 minutes long. Title tracks are not really meant to do this. They're meant to be kind of short and sharp, but it is still memorable. It's got a huge chorus. It's one of those songs that when somebody says Metallica to me, this is where my head goes. It goes to Master of Puppets. It's just so memorable. It's just so stick in the mind. It's got a message and all that kind of thing as well. And it is just, it's kind of the epitome of what the band were at that point. And we were never, ever going to hear that ever again because of, you know, Cliff Burton's sad departure and the way that the band therefore had to evolve at that point. This to me is kind of the pinnacle of it all. And that song pretty much sums that up for me. It's just got everything. It's got power, it's got nuance. It's Metallica, really. Do you know? So choice number 4. Now, this is one of those choices where I tried not to repeat the same artist at any point in this, because seeing I had so many choices, there were some bands and artists who had more than one choice on the long list. Okay, so some people will tell me that I've chosen the wrong song that's sung by Ronnie James Dio. Some people will also tell me that I've chosen the wrong Dio song, but I love The Last in Line. The vocal on that song is just phenomenal. I know that it should be, for many people, it should be Heaven and Hell. Mob Rules. It
Holy
should
Diver.
be Holy Diver. I get all of that. I absolutely get all of that. But I just love the way that this song is structured. I'm a sucker for that, sedate intro, that kind of little jaunty kind of acoustic thing that says, this isn't going to be a heavy metal song. Of course it's not. Okay. We all know that I'm going to do this for the entirety of the opening song of the album. Right? We know that, although it's We Rock that opens, excuse me. But you know what? It's just one of those things that it's like one of those little jokes that everybody's in on. The song starts like that, and we all know it's not going to finish like that. We know it's going to explode at some point. But when Ronnie goes, oh, and I mean, he does it longer and a little better than me. It's close, do you know? And also, it's got a ridiculously hilarious video to go along with it. But it is just fantastic. And I adore this lineup of the band. I really, really do. I mean, Jimmy Bain co-wrote song with Ronnie. He's a great bassist. Doesn't get spoken about enough. Vivian Campbell. Do you know, what a guitarist. We don't, I think he acknowledges it. We don't really always get to hear that in his current situation. Who can begrudge him being in Def Leppard after all the bands that he's been in and for reasons or whatever that hasn't quite worked out long term. Now he's in a situation that does. This is where he did it best, though. This is really where he did it best. This and Holy Diver, of course. I really like Claude Schnell's contribution to this song. Do you know, he kind of disappeared from the lineup after this, and keyboards became sometimes they're a keyboardist named in the band, and sometimes they didn't. Do you know? And then you've got Vinny Appice on drums. It's powerful, but it's melodic. Love it. I've always loved this song. And yeah, I really was close to choosing other ones with Ronnie on them, but I felt that one deserved a little bit of kind of time in the spotlight as much as anything else. So for my last favourite one, I don't know if I've ever spoken about Bruce Springsteen on the channel before, but this to me is kind of this is the title track. This is, without that song, without Born to Run, Bruce Springsteen's not a thing, realistically. I mean, what came before is that there's great stuff there. There's lots of interesting stuff there, lots of worthy stuff there. But without that song, the whole trajectory is different. Everything changes from there. And yeah, there's bumps along the road and it's not plain sailing right from that point in. But it is just, it's the perfect example of a kind of no-nonsense rock song that is also somehow the perfect pop song. It is absolutely both at the same time. I mean, it has got more hooks than I don't know, Pirate Convention. It's so memorable all the way through. You listen out for every little part of it. I'm not a lyrics guy. I can sing the lyrics to this song. It just has everything. The vocal is just fantastic. It's so ridiculously uplifting. You can't listen to this song and not going to go, oh wow, yeah, well, everything's good today now. It is just one of those songs that can change your mood. And I can take or leave a saxophone, but if you're going to have a sax solo, you want to have this sax solo. You really absolutely do. And if anyone tells you that Glockenspiel's not rock and roll, well, you can tinkle tankle along with this song, okay? Because without it, it loses something. And that brings me to what the real glory of the whole album, to be fair. And if you've watched the documentaries about the making of Born to Run, the blood, sweat, and tears that go into making this album sound the way that it sounds, well, they were worth it, to be fair, because the arrangement across that song, there is so much going on. It should just tumble in on itself and become an utter shambles. And it doesn't, not for a single second. It is perfection from start to finish. And yes, it's maybe a cliche choice. And yes, I'm sure people would argue, nah, I've heard it too much. I don't think I could ever hear that song too much. It is one of those songs where you think, well, they're about to play Born to Run, if they're going to do a Springsteen song, and then it starts and you go, thank God for that. It's just so good. I just had to mention this one. So that's my 5.
Good choice. Yeah, we've got some nice variety here so far on the choices. I think I'm going to kind of bring all that down with a lot of very somewhat predictable for me, but like Steven, I put together a big long list because there's a lot of great title tracks. And I looked at them all and I looked at them all and I looked at them all and I could try, all right, which 5 are my favorite? And I had to go with what my favorites were. I changed it multiple times, even this morning. And if you ask me tomorrow, it might alter a little bit, but I feel that the five I picked are just, you feel it here. They're strong here. They're part of your DNA. So my first choice is Lights Out from UFO. One of my favorite songs from them in general. And ironically enough, not the first track on the album. I don't know if it would have made a good first track on the album, because I think Too Hot to Handle is a great opener on this album, but it's buried there at the end of side one. I think it kicks ass, does a great job. It's been covered many, many times over the years and cited by many hard rock and metal bands as one of their favorite UFO tracks. It's got a great guitar riff. It's got a great groove. Shanker's soloing is great on there. Phil Mogg just sounds awesome on it. Great song. A couple of months ago, if we were doing this, I don't know if I would have put it on there, but once I had it on my longer list, you know how you keep going over a list and there's something that almost sticks out, like it's got neon shining at you. And every time I went through this list, I'm like, that fucking song keeps screaming at me from this list to be put on the list, right? It kind of bullied me into it, but I love the song. I absolutely love the song. So that's my first choice. At number 5, I don't know if I've necessarily ranked these, but my number 4 wasn't in my list yesterday, and it replaced something else that I love just as well, but it's almost like I couldn't not put this on here because it's the title track of an album that's one of my favorite albums of all time. I have said many, many times over the years that this is the greatest progressive rock album of all time. It's Close to the Edge by Yes. Perfection. It's long, it's intricate, it's grandiose, it's majestic. It's got everything you want in a classic prog rock song, and it's all of it's however long is it again? I don't know, 20 minutes, whatever. I can never remember exactly how long it is. It's really quite long, but it's an excellent song that's got so many different parts, and for a prog rock song, it does all of them greatly. And this is the classic lineup of Yes. John Anderson, Steve Howe, Chris Squire, Bill Bruford, and Mr. Rick Wakeman. That's my number 4. Number 3. So this band, I had 4 choices. There are more. This band does title tracks really, really well. And I love a lot, especially 4 of them. I had all 4 of them staring at me in the face. And I swear to God, guys, tomorrow I could pick one of the other ones very easily. And I went kicking and screaming about which one today I was going to include on this list because I felt so bad about not including the other 3. The band is Black Sabbath. Which one do you choose? There's a couple really great Ronnie ones. There's a couple really great Ozzy ones. And there's ones from other singers in the band as well, but it's mostly those 2 guys. And I had 2 for each. And I'm like, all right, I got to pick one. So I'm like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Today I'm going to go back to the first album. Black Sabbath is the song. Dun, dun, dun. One of the most important heavy metal songs of all time. I almost went with Heaven and Hell. I almost went with Sabbath Bloody Sabbath.
That's where I thought you were headed.
Right, yeah. And I almost went with Mob Rules because I love Mob Rules so much. But ultimately, I decided to go with Black Sabbath. But ask me tomorrow, I might change my tune. They're all great. I almost wanted to pull a Simon today and say I have a 4-way tie for number 3 because I can't decide between the 3 of them. But I let Simon do those things, and I figured I'll try and play it straight. It's better when Simon cheats. I do every now and then, but Simon's better at cheating than me. So
That's why I just don't get on at this place, isn't it? Really, just
There's a certain etiquette, Simon.
oh, Simon, we love you. This would not
hold on. I'm just
would
going to
not
write
be the
that.
same without you.
Make a list about it. See if that gets me anywhere. Nope, didn't get me anywhere. Nope.
I'll correct it later, Simon. It's okay.
My number 2. What more can you say about this track? It's just so amazing. And this is a band that didn't do title tracks all that often. But when they did, holy moly. 2112 by Rush. Classic. Another kind of epic, right? Takes up a big chunk of side 1. Just so good. All of side 1, actually, on the original LP. And just so great cool sci-fi lyrics. It's heavy, it's proggy, it's dramatic, it's just awesome. It's got some amazing, amazing guitar work from Alex Lifeson. The whole thing is just great. It's classic for a reason. And my number one, this was the easiest one on this entire list that we did. My number one is, it's not my favorite song from this band. It's my number two. But to me, it's the greatest title track ever recorded. It's by a brand new lineup of this band, and it's the first song that anybody heard from this band ever. And as Steven said, what a way to introduce a new lineup to your already popular band with Burn by Deep Purple. It's an incredible song. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. It's so good. Only to me, the only song I like even a smidge better than this is Child in Time. And it's not by much. To me, I think Burn is just one of the greatest hard rock songs ever made. It's so perfect. The riff is great. The vocal, the two-pronged vocal attack are great. The guitar solo is great. The organ solo is great. And as great as the studio version is, I love the live version on Made in Europe even more, because I think it's got some little subtle changes late in the song, which I think are perfect. I love the intro. And just so good. So good. Yeah, that's it. That's my five. So many other good ones got left off my list. I'm looking at my list right now. I'm like, oh man.
I think we could revisit best. I don't know if I can revisit worst. Or least
Exactly.
favorite.
Oh, I could go on and on and on with the best. Yeah, the worst. That was tough. So I'm curious to see what you guys have come up with. Simon, I'll turn it back over to you.
I found the worst really easy. Really, I could do this show quite a lot. Okay, so you know, when I dashed upstairs previously and couldn't find Bridge Over Troubled Water, it struck me. I thought, God, I know I'm looking for something. Oh shit, what is it? And I've realized that what I was looking for was Don't Stop by Status Quo, which we all know that after we'd done the second quo, I bought for 50 pence. And then made the fatal mistake of actually listening to it again. Oh, Christ on a bike. What a massive, massive pile of wank, as indeed is the version of Don't Stop. But you know what? I'm just going to mention that and not pick it, because that's, you know, apparently that's how I roll. So that'll be my six. I'm also going to cheat with my five as well. I really am. That's just the kind of guy that I am, because, you know, I did make some vague choices. I was going to go with Asshole by Gene Simmons, but we talked about that. But then you think, Jesus, Gene, what were you, about 40 odd when you made this, 50? And you put sheep noises in the song. Grow the fuck up. Really? Really, Gene? Really? And then you know, I was going to light upon Made in Heaven by Queen.
Oof.
I know. The version of Made in Heaven by Queen is not as good as the version of Made in Heaven by Freddie Mercury on Mr. Bad Guy. What a great album that was too. I think we can all agree. Yeah, so one of those would be my would be my fifth. I don't even know why this album exists in many ways. Oh yeah, Ka-ching. Yes, Stephen.
So for top five, how many do we have, Simon?
Seven.
I think we're
Seven. Let's be brutally honest.
Okay.
It's top seven. Okay. Now into the stuff I've never really spoken about on the channel. And I am going to name, as I said on Twitter, what I consider to be the worst album and the worst title track of all time. Yes, that's what you get from your Uncle Simon. Yes, indeed. And I've also noticed that there appears to be a bit of a theme in the main of heritage acts making shit records. That appears to. I think that could well be the theme of my thing. You got your Queen, your Quo, Eugene, yeah. Not quite a heritage act at this point, but I'd like to reserve a special place in hell for Fox Humana by Kenny Loggins. Oh, everything that is wrong with the 1980s, in particular. Yes.
Now, I don't know this album. Could you kindly just
Lucky you.
Please show us the cover?
Yes. See, I'm trying to hide that because I know we're doing shitty album art at some point.
I mean, the only exclamation that I can give to this, and I apologize to anyone who is vaguely offended by this, is Jesus. We'll move on now.
There you go, little Cecilia. Draw, go, Kenny. Go on.
There's an aspect of delusions.
That is pretty future, yeah.
But you know, the actual song, The actual song itself is just so 80s, so plinky bassy, stabby keyboardy, so mundane. And I like a bit of Kenny. Don't you like a little bit? Who doesn't like a bit of Kenny?
I like some of the hits. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, a bit of Kenny's good. You know, I'm glad I didn't pay much for this. You know, and then you see, oh, like some of it was produced by Michael and watching, and he did the Christopher Cross albums. They were fucking great. I love Christopher Cross. I really do. Oh, David Foster. But anyhow, you know, hey, Fox Humana, by it's also one of those like Michael Nesmith kind of things where the words, the title doesn't really appear in the song, and that always irritates me. But yeah, there you go. So something else that really irritates me is American Dream by Crosby's, Stills, Nash and Young. Oh fuck me, Jesus! Oh god, this is bad. Have we heard it? Have we heard it, kids? It's
Yes,
terrible.
I've heard that. Yes, yeah.
Oh god. God, I'm going to read the lyrics out from all my last three choices because they're so. I used to see you on every TV. Your smiling face looked back at me. I used to see you in. Oh Jesus Christ! I mean, I believe they made it because at least one of them required the cash, didn't they? It's even got like pretend like keyboard whistling on it. You know. Oh, it's garbage. As is, it's 14 songs long, but it opens it up with the most inane drivel. You know, you think, CSNMY, they've got a song called American Dream. They're gonna rip shit apart. Yeah, they're gonna suck it to the mat. Oh God, that's corporate and boring, isn't it? Oh dearie, dearie me, fellas, stop. And then they carried on for a while, didn't they? After that,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
begging the question why. Yeah, very much so. Now this is an album I genuinely love. It's one of those albums that might make a reappearance sometime next year. But I genuinely love this album. But the title track wouldn't make it past Thanksgiving in America. Let's just say it's a bit of a turkey. Oh yes, it's Meatloaf's "Blind Before I Stop." Oh Christ, not like. I mean, who really thought? You know, do you remember that time in the 80s when people were, what we really need is Meatloaf on a download career trajectory with the guy that wrote the songs and produced Boney M. That's what we really need, isn't it? That's just absolutely what. And the title track's awful. Get you know, if you ever saw the love around that period, he really gave it his all. You know, like he always did. You know, doing it in the market, doing it in the mall, doing it in the bushes in the high school. Meat fella. You're in your 40s. Stop it. Stop again. Stop. Just no, really. Now they're doing it, baby, on MTV. Oh yeah, maybe no. Just really. Oh no, not a great cover either. Just
No.
oh, terrible.
It's the name of the album itself. I mean, I know that he likes songs that make you go, what? I get that, but it's just really. I mean. That's
what could he possibly doing that would make him go blind before he stops? I genuinely don't know. Do you?
No idea. It's obviously that staring into bright light that he's talking about. Yes.
Yes. Anyhow, here we go. This is in my world. This is the worst title track and arguably the worst album I've ever heard. This is "Sexual Savor" by Killsmith. That's right. It's Neil Smith, everyone. Yeah. We all know who Neil Smith is, don't we? Because like, oh Jesus, Neil really regressed. You know, when I stagger home late and I'm shit-faced drunk, seeing doubles and smelling like a roadkill skunk, my woman takes my beer, so-cast rat-ass self, no explanation needed, because she fucking understands. I mean, Byron is turning his fucking grave at that point, isn't he? You know, and it's just like so low-key, kind of like grungy, yeah, badly recorded. Just it's awful. It really is, and it is available out there to stream it and enjoy. It's just tuneless dirge gives it too much credit. Just Yeah, but I think there's always one thing you've got to remember though when you stick your head above the parapet and say something's a bit shit. It is a million times better than anything I could ever do. Because I have no talent whatsoever for that kind of thing. I can sit here and take the piss and all on. I am very good at taking the piss. That's my thing. It really is. But just why? Why, Neil? Why, fella? Why? Oh, it's because you didn't have the day gig anymore, did you? Just really. Oh no, it's incomprehensibly bad. If you ever want to, have a quick listen and then let us know in the comments because it really, really is. Sexual Savor by Killsmith.
One to be avoided, it sounds like.
If you listen to your Uncle Simon, it certainly is. But I'm just not Stephen, am I? So just carry on. Yeah.
And you should be thankful of that, Simon.
I am. Every day that I don't hear Marillion, I am thankful that I am not doing it.
It is very interesting to hear you talking about or reading some of these lyrics and how questionable they are. To go slightly off beam, because I don't mind the song quite so much. But had we done this in the future, I possibly could have taken the new Ace Frehley song, 10,000 Volts. I mean, how old is he? 74 and about there. Please, people, go and listen to that song. I quite like the riff, by the way. The opening riff, thanks Ace, or whoever wrote it. Don't think he did. Steve Brown from Trickster. But the lyric coming from a guy of that age, there is no need. There is no need. Right. Anyway, choices. Okay. I'm not making that in this next one because I haven't even heard the album yet. Let's be honest. I've only heard the song. The album's not out. So I am going to do one of those heritage acts, but it's not the late albums. I'm going to 1993. Okay, so this is Get a Grip. I mean, it's a great title for an album by Aerosmith at this stage, because yes, absolutely, Get a Grip. Now, I'll be honest and say I quite liked this when it came out. Okay, I used to play the drums along with this because it's Joey Kramer. Right? Okay, I'm in with that. But hindsight is a wonderful thing because you listen to it now and it is just the most blatant rewrite of their own songs. I mean, it basically is somebody took Love in an Elevator and Dude Looks Like a Lady and went, Get a Grip. And that's what it is. It's the tipping point for where Aerosmith, I know that Permanent Vacation and Pump, they're not everyone's taste. I still don't mind those albums. From there on in, oh, yikes. It's bad stuff. This is a song written by a committee. I mean, they have done serious market research, rock and roll people. It is just what your brand new, never heard the band before the last two albums, Aerosmith fan would want right now. That's what this song is. It is somebody sitting down and going, so what sold off the last few albums? Can we just write that again, please? It's just such an exercise in selling a single. It's just a really, really bad idea. Rubbish. It's tripe, is what it is. Okay. Now, I actually wondered, and it's not the worst album of all time, that when Simon said he had the worst title track from the worst album of all time, if I maybe had the same album here, it's not the worst album of all time. Okay, people will be offended by that. Okay. The title track of an album, when this idea was suggested by Roy, he kind of said, why do we expect more from a title track? Or do we expect more from a title track? You know, it kind of represents the album. You do expect it to have some sort of connection with what's going on, various things like that. And I adore the fact that there are some songs out there that have 20,000 views on YouTube and one comment. That has one comment from 20,000 views. That means that 19,999 people could not be arsed to waste their time commenting on the 37 seconds of Pink Bubbles Go Ape by Halloween. Okay? I mean, the title track is meant to set you up and tell you what the album is all about. And we've also covered that if it's an opening track, it's the double whammy. It should be the one that introduces you to the album and tells you this is what it's all about. This is what you can expect. And I suppose it does. This is an interesting album, to say the least. Simon has done lyrics. There are not many lyrics across the 37 seconds of this. Okay, so some people are much too smart. They know everything before it starts. Eating wisdom with the pail, no wonder when it sticks. In your darkest hour, I will sing this song for you. Please don't, Michael, please don't. Cry and tell and slander, yell and grumble well. So loud for heaven's sake. Pink bubbles go ape. I mean, what the fuck is that all about?
It's a lot of horse shit is what it is.
Isn't it? And that is the song that they named the album after, and also say to you, hello, this is how we're going to follow a couple of seminal albums. Oh, yeah. I mean, Misguided. That's being really, really kind. I love a lot of Halloween. I do not necessarily love all of Halloween. There you go.
I think that counts as the favorite, least favorite Halloween thing, doesn't it? That people keep asking for. I think that's the last time they ever need to be mentioned.
Yeah, I will apologise to the viewer who consistently always asks for a Halloween kind of favourite, least favourite, or a ranking or whatever, but the time that I have mentioned it, since we talked about a whole album in positive terms, I have to say, I have just shut on them. I really like Halloween.
I will say, though, I don't think that album is as awful as we all thought it was back in the day. It's not very good, but I remember back in the day we were all, because again, just like you said, without going off on a tangent here, compared to the ones that came right before it, it's pretty terrible. If you take it out of all that and listen to it on its own, has its moment.
Yeah, bands have choices. And when you make two albums like the Keeper albums, you have a choice. Do you just go and repeat them again and everyone goes, yeah, that's all they can do? Do you know, maiden clones, as they were getting called, and all this kind of stuff? Or do you stick it all out there and go do something completely different? Well, it's not completely different, but it's daring. You know, it's different. It's not great.
No.
That's the problem, is that if you're going to make that choice to go, do you know what, actually, we're not that band that can only do the one thing, you have to do that really well.
Yeah.
And I do think that sticking a little, I mean, whether you like abstract album art or not, sticking that on the front doesn't help. The video for the songs don't help. And then you put a really shit throwaway piece of nonsense at the start of the album. There's so many choices there that you just kind of think, do you know, can we bring Aerosmith's Committee in? Because they make some good choices.
Yeah.
But there you go. Right, number 3 is probably the one that is going to make people go, okay, because I do not like Fear of the Dark. I have never liked Fear of the Dark. I just have never, ever got it. It's, to me,
I think a lot of hardcore Maiden fans used to love it, but because they insist on playing it every single tour since it came out, I think people are sick of it at this point in time.
It's boring. It's boring. I mean, I was building up to that. That's the crux of it. It's boring. This is where, to me, and there are some good moments along the way, which I have conceded after really not enjoying an awful lot of more recent Maiden. This is where they start to veer off the path of greatness, because it's got all those kind of hallmarks. It's too long. There is a good song in there. It's too long. It doesn't need to be that length of time, okay? I don't need to hear this thing at the start of the song for half an hour. I don't need that noodling bass nonsense. Hi, Steve, I know it's your band. I know you're good. That'll do. Let's move along now. And it plods. I mean, Bruce does his best with the vocal, but I don't even think that the vocal line sits particularly comfortably with the riff. It all just feels a little bit like it was pieced together. The bass is so loud in the mix that the guitars are hardly there sometimes. There's just so many things that are wrong with it. And people in the comments can see what they want, okay, and they'll get upset and all that kind of stuff. This is not progressive rock, people, okay? I'm not having that. I am not having that. It's not prog, just he goes boom, 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 boom for half an hour. It's just repetitive. And the melody is boring. And how many times can he sing the words "Fear of the Dark"? We get it, Bruce. Put the lights on. It's not good. And yes, they play it live all the time. At least I know they used to. Don't know if they still do. And I would genuinely trade it for a drum solo. Another one. Give me 2. I really, really don't like the song. It just, when I saw them live many, many moons ago, it just completely sucked all the life out of the set. Just don't like it. Never have done from the first moment I heard the album. And I really like that album, by the way.
I think they leave it in the set perennially because for some reason it really goes over live, and that's the point where everybody sings along with Bruce. 15, 20 times, or however many times they repeat Fear of the Dark over and over and over again. But it's funny because I don't really know that many Maiden fans who proclaim any love for that song. In fact, most Maiden fans that I know, they can't stand that song. But yet you have to wonder, because whenever I go see Maiden, the crowd goes bananas when they play it. So I think the majority of the Maiden fans really love hearing that song live. I've heard it live enough. I don't need to hear it ever again. I don't necessarily, for me, I don't necessarily dislike the song, but I could tell you 30 other Iron Maiden songs that I like better, probably more than that. So it's a mystery to me why that has been ingrained in their set list for 30 some odd years. It's crazy.
I'm going off beam here, which will be a shock to nobody that watches regularly. Sorry, Simon. There are certain moments in bands' sets that are a bit of theatre. Do you know? They play them all the time. They're in the set all the time. You know that the people are going to either sing the guitar solo, do you know? Or there are certain points where the band stops and goes, hey, or whatever it may be. Fear of the Dark became one of them for Maiden. Yes, it's a moment in the set.
Yeah.
I just don't like the song.
Yeah, I mean, you can make a similar argument for Turbo, Turbo Lover by Judas Priest, right? Song that it's at the other end of the spectrum. I hated that when it first came out. But now, you go see Priest live, they play it every tour, and all of a sudden something clicked with me, and I'm like, I like seeing them play that live. And people go bananas. They go apeshit when they play Turbo Lover live. Go figure. Back in the day, everybody hated that. All the Priest fans hated it. Now it's become a highlight of the set. I think Fear of the Dark is very similar in a weird way.
Possibly. So, my next choice. Excuse me while I do that. Okay. I mean, we're already in a little bit of throwaway nonsense theatre here, aren't we? This has come out and played Twisted Sister. And then you get that clanky clank of, is it milk bottles? That's what it sounds like. Do you know, it's like the guys who do, I mean, there's a thing from the 60s and 70s, the guys who do these milk rounds in the morning, clank, 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 come out and play Twisted Sister. I mean, and the thing is, I mean, there's worse stuff on this album, to be fair. I quite like Twisted Sister up to this point. This is the album where they just began to completely lose it, do you know? They were a bunch of hard-hitting, dangerous mothers at this point, up to now. And this is what turned them into a kind of neutered pop rock band. Do you know, I mean, I know that the early stuff isn't particularly clever, it's big and it's bold and it's hell of a dumb, but there is a kind of honesty to I am, I'm me and all this kind of stuff. It was rabble rousing and it was all about kind of individuality and all that kind of. But the title track to this is painful. It's just, I mean, AJ Perlo is just clapping those drums as quickly as he possibly can and fair play. You know, that's okay. But that's all that really happens. It's just a bit of a mess. It's lifeless. The chorus has no identity at all. I mean, there was worse to come. The album after is even worse. Love for Suckers. Love is for Suckers is even worse than that album. But as a title track, it's just, it's summed up by the cover. It's just gimmicks. I mean, we've got Leader of the Pack coming up after it in the album. I mean, really, it's just a pile of clownish nonsense. It really is. And for me, it killed them. Totally did. That whole idea of you could kind of take that band and just ridicule themselves to some extent. It's just a lot of nonsense. Really, really bad. And I don't think I've ever talked about them much on the channel before either. I quite like Twisted Sister early on. They were a really dangerous band. And there's no danger there at all. It's a comedy band by this stage, and they're willfully taking part in it. Much they'll tell you now, we're kind of pushing that direction. I don't believe many of the guys in that band will be pushed very far by anybody. Let's just see. Which brings me to my final choice. And there really is only 3 words that I can say for my final choice, but I can say them a lot. Okay, and I know that Uncle Simon likes it when I say them a lot, because I can say, I mean, this title track is so bad that I maybe actually love it whilst utterly detesting it at the same time.
So bad it's good, right? Yep.
Well, it's so bad that it just kind of, I think it drives you to distraction to the point where you lose your senses and just become one with it. So, you know, you cannot listen. You can't listen to it without singing along with it. But you know it's terrible as you're singing along with it. It's that ultimate throwaway nursery rhyme that Quo decided after Burning Bridges somehow became a hit, that they would live in, they would reside in this point. It is just, I mean, that song deserves to burn in hell. It is awful. Absolutely awful. And it's so bad that I might just go listen to it as soon as we finish recording this show, because it's that kind of song. And you'll put it on and you'll feel ever so slightly dirty. It's really bad. Really bad.
You'll feel what?
Dirty.
Dirty.
Happy now?
Mm.
You know that actually in the build up to this show, I finally bought the DVD. I haven't got it yet. I bought the film. £2.73 of my hard-earned cash has gone on the Bull of Quo film, and I will watch it and I will enjoy it.
It's got to happen, right?
It's got to happen, yeah. It's on its way.
The curse is indeed real, is it not? Yes, it is. We got some stinkers here today. I might raise a couple feathers with a couple of my stinkers, but we'll see. And I don't have an actual CD copy of one of them, just because. I'll start off here with the title track to Hysteria by Def Leppard. Crap. I get that feeling. Stop believing. Yeah. No. Terrible. Sorry. Don't like it. Happy. Just boring. Sappy, sugary Def Leppard. I don't like pappy, sugary, boring, sissy Def Leppard. Sorry. I know a lot. I will say it's a sort of catchy earworm for a pop song, but I don't want Def Leppard singing that kind of stuff. Yeah, if I never hear Hysteria again, that'll be a good thing. So that's my number one. Number two, we talked before about how sometimes when the title track is terrible, the rest of the album is terrible. That is absolutely the case with this one. This is probably my least favorite album from this band. They're doing double duty today because they appeared in my best. Now they're appearing in my worst. Open Your Eyes by Yes. This album sucks. The title track sucks. It's just happy. Simon talked about those European power metal bands that are all the happy power metal bands, right? And I kind of think those are really cheesy, and I tend to kind of stay away from those. I don't like happy, breezy, cheery Yes either. I know a lot of Yes's music is very uplifting, but this is like way over the top, and it's just, there's nothing interesting here. There's no good guitar work. The keyboards on here are like basically non-existent, and the songs just are not good. I'm looking over the track list here and I'm like, yeah, there's not a winner here at all. I remember when this album first came out, I was like, what is this garbage? Because I was like, and still am a huge Yes fan, but man, were they in a rut here. And there's just nothing that I could recommend about this album at all. And the title track is just plain boring, unmemorable, and just doesn't sound like Yes. This next one, it is the title track, although they kind of changed the first word in it. The album is called We Can't Dance. The title track is I Can't Dance. All I can say is I don't care who's dancing. You suck. This is I Can't Dance is unlistenable. Might be my least favorite of all these songs. I love Genesis. I absolutely love Genesis. But man, anytime I hear this song come out, I can't dance. I'm like, Phil, shut up. Shut up. Oh my God. This is easily the worst song that Genesis has ever recorded. I literally cannot stand this song. I hate this song. I very rarely use that term. And like this was really hard for me because I like a lot of stuff, and I couldn't come up with too many title tracks that I really disliked. This one was the first one I thought of. I really, really dislike I Can't Dance. And to me, it is like so un-Genesis-like, and it's just annoying, repetitive, and I absolutely don't like it at all.
So very, very Genesis then. Annoying, repetitive. Yep.
And I like myself. I like that song on that album.
Oh God, I can't stand it. Can't stand it. Can't stand it. I also can't stand this song, and I love this band. And I fought everything in me to not include it in this list, but I wanted to be truthful, right? I never liked this song. I also don't like the album either. This is probably my least favorite album from this time period in the history of this band, and everything else around it I love, but this album to me always just didn't really do a lot for me. And I never understood the love for this title track because to me, it doesn't have all the elements that I love so much about this band. It's Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die by Jethro Tull. Don't like the song. Never liked the song. It's got, he's whispering in the beginning. It's got this, it's so grandiose and theatrical. And like, this is like Ian Anderson's, trying to do show tunes or something like that. I never liked it. It's too whimsical. It's got no guitar punch. It's got no keyboardy punch. It's got no flute punch. I just never liked it. And that being said, I only like a couple tracks on the album to begin with. Taxi Grab is a lot of fun. A couple other songs are pretty good, but I find this the weakest album from the 70s from Jethro Tull. And it's one of my least favorite Tull albums overall. They have a couple that are a little worse than this, but to me, I just never got the love for this album or that title track. So that's on my list. And my final choice, I don't have a CD for, and I'm sure once I reveal it, people will understand why, because I just don't like this band in general. But I can honestly say that this title track, when it came out from this album, was basically the final straw in me disliking Motley Crue, and that was Girls, Girls, Girls. I was pretty much on board with Motley Crue up until this album, and then I was like, what is this shit? I think it's juvenile. And they're like, oh, but Pete, you like Kiss. How can you call it juvenile? Well, it is. I remember the video is ridiculous. The chorus is ridiculous. The lyrics are ridiculous. And to me, the band became ridiculous when Girls, Girls, Girls came out. And I listened to it this morning and I'm like, yeah, this song still sucks balls. So at the time I was still on board the Motley Crue train. I love the first album, love the second album. Third album was kind of like, and then this came out and I was like, yeah, that's it. I'm done. I am off the Motley Crue train. Yeah, both. Six point something. Yeah.
Oh God, you've bloopered an hour in. We've got to start again. Jesus.
Yeah, Girls, Girls, Girls is my final choice for today. Yeah, don't like any of these songs, unfortunately. But for the most part, this was hard. I had none others. I struggled to find five, and there you go. I dislike all of these. So yeah, that I'm sure, I probably could have picked some like more obscure stuff if I really went looking, but I wanted to pick some high profile stuff, I think, that everybody would know. But yeah, I don't like these songs. It really pains me to include like, bands like Jethro Tull and Yes and Genesis on this list. Motley Crue, I don't give a shit about. And Def Leppard, I like early Def Leppard. Anything after Pyromania for me is like, but yeah. It's funny because Simon said his long list for the week stuff is pretty long. I would love at some point to see what else he's got up his sleeve. So maybe at some point we do like an honorable mention show for this or whatever, But anyway, that's
dishonorable mention.
Dishonorable mention, yes, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I could go deeper than I did, but I did find the least favorite list. It's one of those things you think this will be a doddle, and then you start to look and you go, oh, actually, I like most of the title tracks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the ones that I can use, and I'm like, there's some great stuff in here, and but you can't choose everything. Obviously, it's there's a lot of favorite title tracks. I don't know what it is. Do you think bands like put more effort into that title track, or I don't know? I don't know what it is. Most of them are very good.
A mixture of that, and sometimes it must work the other way around. Where you write the song, choose the best one, and go, let's name the album after that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, possibly works both ways, I suppose.
Who knows? All right, Steven, you want to give everybody a taste of what's coming next? We're wrapping up the year next, right?
Yes, we are hurtling towards the end of 2023, whether we like it or not. So we will be doing our end of year kind of roundup. It's what we do. There are lots of interesting and varied kind of best of shows across the channel at this time of year, so you can get your fix of whatever style of music you like, and hopefully pick up some interesting recommendations of what's been released in 2023. We do things a little bit differently here. We will be doing our top albums of the year that have been released in 2023, but just a top three with maybe a few honorable mentions. But we'll also be doing our top 3 albums that were not released in 2023, but we've heard them for the first time this year. So they could be from the 70s, it could be from last year, but we've encountered them for the first time in 2023 and liked them that much that they have shot right to the top of the things that we listened to that were not released this year. We'll also be doing a top 3 of kind of reissues, compilations, live albums, all of those kind of things under one umbrella. We will be talking about the 3 pet hates of the year. What are the 3 things that have got under our skin that are music related, I would guess, that really have upset and annoyed us? Yeah, I found that surprisingly easy this year. I kind of struggled with that last year. This year, no problem at all. We'll also be talking about the top 3 live shows or live bands, whatever way we want to look at that between the 3 of us, and listing them as well, maybe with a couple of honourable mentions too. So it's the end of year wrap up, end of year roundup. It's the best of show. It's the top 3s, every way you want to look at it. So that's your homework for next time.
Yeah. And it's cool because, as Steven said, we have various other shows on the channel where we're doing this kind of end of year wrap up. And I think here on the UK connection, we have to do it a little bit differently because, of course, over on Hudson Valley Squares, we talk about our favorite hard rock and metal albums. On the prog seat, we talk about our favorite prog albums. So, we don't want to necessarily do the exact same thing here. And I think it's cool because, Simon is not featured on either one of those shows. So it's really cool to hear what Simon's picks are, and they could be across anything. And to add all these other little topic areas, I think is really cool because we won't go into those on the other shows. So yeah, it's a good time to kind of talk about all these kind of niche little categories and things like that, which I think is really fun.
I like it because it does sum up the year. Because yeah, we all listen to new music. We all have bought some new albums this year. But we all do lots of other musical things across the year. We all go to gigs. We all come across albums that weren't released this year. We all like a box set or a live album or a reissue or whatever it may be. So most people, if not everyone that's watching the show, will have done all of those things.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they all get annoyed about some things too. So something for everybody, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. And I do, I'm going to announce it right now because perhaps by the time you guys are watching this and maybe shortly thereafter, for the first time ever on Sea of Tranquility on the channel anyway, we are going to have a Sea of Tranquility Awards survey. Okay, we are going to we're very interested here across the channel to find out what your favorite episodes and personalities are for 2023. And hopefully we will do this going forward each and every year. A lot of other channels do this, and I've always wanted to do this. I really want to get recognition for the various shows that we ran this year, all of our talent pool that works on all the various shows, that sort of thing. So if you haven't seen it already, because of course we record this a little bit earlier, you will see it very soon, and it'll be posted here on the channel and on the Facebook page and wherever else I can get it posted in. I'll probably send the link to Simon and Steven to send out via Twitter, but there will be a survey where everybody will get to basically how we're doing it is we're going to pick all the major shows on the channel. So UK Connection, Hudson Valley Squares, Prog Seat, Funhouse, all those shows. We're going to go back over the course of this year. We're going to find the 5 most viewed programs for each of all those shows. We're going to allow you guys, the viewers, to vote on your favorite amongst those 5. There will also be a couple of open-ended questions where you can vote for your favorite overall episode. That's like a write-in vote. You can, we're going to ask you to vote for your favorite Sea of Tranquility personality right across the channel. So whoever you like the best, you can vote for that as well, and various other things. So it'll be a nice long survey where you guys can go and vote on your favorites, and then at the end of the year, probably right around the beginning of the new year, I'll have an episode where I'll announce all the winners to all the different show questions and things like that. So I think it'll be fun, and we've never done this before, so I think it'll be something really cool to do. So be on the lookout. If you haven't seen it already, it'll be coming shortly, the link to go and vote. We'll probably give everybody about 2 weeks, I would think, for until the end of the year, so the 31st, to vote, and then I'll shut it down, and then right at the beginning of the new year, we'll announce all the winners. So be on the lookout for that. So you've heard it here first. And for those of you who, well, you won't know this, but if you're not watching this show, I will announce it on Hudson Valley Squares on Monday as well. Because, yeah, does everybody watch every show on this channel? Probably not, right? Who doesn't watch this show, right? UK Connections. Well, yeah, exactly. Exactly. So don't worry, we'll get the word out. We'll make sure everybody knows that the poll will be going, the survey will be going live. So that's coming up real soon. When you're watching this, we have been working on it furiously, and we'll get that out to everybody very soon if it's not already. So till next time, for the best of 2023, visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as a post. And please do hit the like button before you leave. We'll see you in 2 weeks here on the UK Connection for Simon Bray, our premier talent. Vote for Simon. Vote for Steven. You don't have to vote for me. I don't want people to vote for me, but I want you to vote for everybody else. Thanks for watching the UK Connection. I'm Pete Pardo. We'll see you real soon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't forget, ranking the albums coming up at you tomorrow. Until then, have a good one. Bye-bye.